If I told you that the refrigerator, a companion you've trusted in your kitchen for decades, might actually be silently draining the nutrients from the foods your aging body needs the most, how would you react? It sounds unbelievable, I know. But after more than 20 years working with older adults, I've realized a troubling truth. Many digestion issues, low energy, weakened immunity, and even heart concerns often begin with simple storage mistakes we make right inside our own homes. And what weighs on me the most is this. Most of these mistakes are completely preventable. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 9 familiar foods you should never store in the refrigerator. Not because they're unhealthy, but because cold temperatures can strip away 50 to 90% of their nutrients, alter their natural structure, and even trigger harmful changes inside the body, especially for those over 60. If you or someone you love is trying to maintain strong health, a sharper mind, and better digestion each day, this is the information every older adult deserves to know. And stay with me until the end, because the last 2 foods are the ones almost everyone gets wrong. And many people have unknowingly reduced their nutritional value for years without realizing it. Number 9. Bread. Bread is a staple in many American households, especially for older adults, convenient, soft, easy to chew, and perfect for a quick breakfast. But what most people don't realize is this. Putting bread in the refrigerator is the fastest way to make it dry, tough, flavorless, and stale overnight. At cold temperatures, the starches in bread undergo a process called retrogradation. Simply put, the starch molecules recrystallize, push moisture out, and turn the soft interior into something crumbly, dry, and harder to chew. For older adults, many of whom have sensitive teeth, reduced bite strength, or dry mouth, this small change can turn a pleasant slice of bread into something uncomfortable and unappealing. Refrigerated bread also loses its natural aroma, the very thing that makes bread taste fresh and inviting. Without that warm, comforting scent, appetite decreases, leading many seniors to eat less and unintentionally reduce their daily energy intake. This is especially concerning because older adults often struggle to consume enough calories, fiber, and B vitamins from grains. Many of my patients also tell me that refrigerated bread seems to pick up smells from other foods. That's because bread absorbs moisture and odors very easily. In a fridge full of various foods, this leads to a mixed, sometimes unpleasant taste that can even cause mild nausea or stomach discomfort. So how should you store bread the right way? Avoid the refrigerator unless absolutely necessary. Keep bread at room temperature in a cool, dry place. If you have more bread than you can finish in a few days, slice it and store it in the freezer. When you want to eat it, just toast or warm it. It will taste soft and fresh without losing its structure. Avoid sealing bread in tight plastic bags in warm, humid areas, as this encourages mold growth. This small change can help you keep bread flavorful, nutritious, and enjoyable, making meals easier and more pleasant during your senior years, instead of struggling to chew through a dry, refrigerated slice. Number 8. Coffee. For many older adults, a morning cup of coffee is more than a habit. It's a comforting ritual that brings clarity and a gentle lift to start the day. Yet very few people realize that storing coffee beans or ground coffee in the refrigerator is one of the biggest mistakes, quietly draining its flavor and even affecting digestion. Coffee is one of the most moisture-absorbing and odor-absorbing foods in the kitchen. When you place it in the fridge, a place full of humidity and mixed food smells, it behaves like a sponge. Before long, your morning brew, which should be rich and aromatic, may develop odd notes, a harsh bitterness, or an unpleasant aftertaste. Beyond flavor, cold temperatures cause condensation to form on the surface of coffee beans or grounds every time you open the fridge. Even a small amount of moisture speeds up oxidation, stripping away delicate aroma compounds and leaving the coffee flat and dull. For seniors with more sensitive digestion, drinking coffee that has absorbed moisture or changed flavor can sometimes trigger mild stomach discomfort or bloating. High-quality roasted coffee also contains natural oils, the very oils responsible for richness and depth of flavor. In the cold, these oils can solidify, reducing extraction during brewing. This is why so many people say refrigerated coffee just doesn't taste the same, even when they brew it exactly as before. So, how do you keep your coffee fresh and flavorful? Store it at room temperature in an airtight, opaque container. Keep it away from the stove or heat sources where temperature fluctuates. Buy only the amount you'll use within 1 to 2 weeks to ensure maximum freshness. If you truly need long-term storage, freeze the coffee in small portions and only thaw what you need. Never refreeze. A good cup of coffee does more than wake you up. It supports circulation, sharpens alertness, and adds a moment of pleasure to your morning. But when stored incorrectly, coffee loses these benefits and becomes something far less enjoyable. Changing the way you store coffee may seem small, but in the life of an older adult, small, intentional choices can shape a better day. Starting first thing in the morning. Number 7. Honey. Honey has long been considered one of nature's gifts for health, especially for adults over 60. It can soothe the throat, support digestion, strengthen immunity, and provide gentle, easy-to-absorb energy. Yet many people unintentionally store honey the wrong way, causing this liquid gold to lose much of its natural power. Putting honey in the refrigerator is the most common mistake. Cold temperatures cause honey to crystallize quickly, turning it from a smooth, golden liquid into a gritty, semi-solid mass. Although crystallization doesn't spoil honey, it changes its texture dramatically. And many people mistake this for honey going bad. For older adults, dealing with hardened, crystallized honey can be inconvenient and frustrating. More importantly, moisture from opening and closing a cold jar can reduce honey's natural antibacterial activity. This is one of honey's most valuable features, the reason it was historically used on wounds and for soothing sore throats. Even a small amount of extra moisture can interfere with the enzymes that give honey its healing qualities. This matters even more for seniors, whose immune systems tend to be weaker and who often rely on honey as a gentle, natural remedy. Refrigeration also dulls the aroma and delicate sweetness of honey, especially dark, raw, or wild varieties that contain higher levels of nutrients and antioxidants. When the flavor is altered, honey becomes less enjoyable and harder to pair with tea, oatmeal, or other familiar foods. So how should you store honey properly? Keep it at room temperature, in a dry place away from direct sunlight. Use clean glass or plastic containers with tight lids to prevent moisture intrusion. If honey crystallizes, simply warm the jar gently in hot water and stir. It will return to its smooth form without losing nutrients. Avoid using wet spoons, which introduce unwanted moisture. Honey is remarkably long-lasting and can stay good for years when stored correctly. For older adults, preserving the natural quality of honey means preserving a source of clean energy, digestive support, heart-healthy antioxidants, and gentle immune protection. A small change, stopping the habit of refrigerating honey, is all it takes to enjoy the full richness of what nature intended. Number 6. Garlic. Garlic is a staple in nearly every household, not only for its distinctive flavor, but also for its proven health benefits. Decades of research show that garlic supports heart health, reduces inflammation, boosts immunity, and naturally fights bacteria. For adults over 60, it's one of the foods worth keeping in the diet. Yet many people unknowingly store garlic the wrong way, especially by putting it in the refrigerator. When exposed to cold temperatures, garlic begins to sprout much faster. While sprouted garlic isn't toxic, it does lose much of its essential oils and signature aroma. The green shoot inside often tastes bitter, altering the flavor of dishes and making meals less enjoyable, especially for older adults who tend to be more sensitive to taste changes. The fridge's high humidity also causes garlic to become soft, damp, and more prone to mold. Mold not only reduces nutrition, but can produce toxins that irritate the digestive system and immune function, both of which naturally weaken with age. Younger bodies may tolerate this better, but for seniors, even mild food spoilage can trigger bloating, discomfort, or reduced nutrient absorption. Another issue many overlook: cold temperatures break down garlic's cellular structure. When chopped or crushed, refrigerated garlic becomes mushy, loses its crisp texture, and releases far less aroma. This also means a significant reduction in allicin, the compound responsible for garlic's heart protective and antibacterial properties. For older adults, losing allicin means losing part of garlic's ability to lower cholesterol, support circulation, and protect blood vessels. So what's the best way to store garlic? Keep garlic at room temperature, in a dry, well-ventilated place. Use baskets, mesh bags, or small containers that allow airflow. Avoid plastic bags or sealed containers, which trap moisture and lead to spoilage. Store garlic away from heat sources like the stove, since warmth speeds up sprouting. Once separated into individual cloves, use them within 7 to 10 days for best quality. A simple bulb of garlic holds remarkable benefits for healthy aging. And by making one small change, keeping garlic out of the fridge, you preserve its flavor, its natural enzymes, and its powerful heart-friendly properties. Number 5. Bananas. Bananas are among the best fruits for adults over 60. Soft, easy to chew, rich in potassium for heart health, and packed with vitamin C, vitamin B6, and fiber for digestion. However, many people don't realize that refrigerating bananas is the quickest way to make them lose nutrients, change color, and decrease in flavor. Bananas are tropical fruits, meaning they're not built to handle cold temperatures. The moment they're placed in the refrigerator, the cells in the peel begin to break down. This causes the peel to turn black rather quickly. Not just an aesthetic issue, but a sign that internal chilling injury has already begun. Under normal conditions, bananas continue to ripen naturally as enzymes convert starch into sugar. But when refrigerated, this process suddenly stops, forcing the banana into an uneven, unnatural stage of ripening. The result? A mushy texture, reduced sweetness, and a soft, sometimes watery interior. Even more concerning, studies show that bananas stored at low temperatures can lose 70 to 80% of their vitamin C within just a few days. For older adults, who rely on vitamin C for immune support, iron absorption, and skin health, this is a significant loss. Cold-damaged bananas can also cause mild digestive discomfort in seniors with sensitive stomachs. The altered texture and premature breakdown increase the chances of light fermentation in the gut, leading to bloating for some individuals. So how do you keep bananas fresh and nutritious? Store them at room temperature, away from direct sunlight. Hang bananas or place them on a rack to prevent bruising. To slow ripening, wrap the stems with plastic wrap. To speed ripening, place bananas in a paper bag with an apple or pear. Once fully ripe, peel and freeze extra bananas for smoothies. One of the best ways to preserve both flavor and nutrients. Bananas are one of the most senior-friendly fruits, but to truly benefit from them, avoiding the refrigerator is essential. Just a small adjustment in how you store them can help you retain more clean energy, valuable vitamins, and delicious flavor in your daily snacks. Number 4. Onions. Onions are a familiar ingredient in countless American dishes, from soups and salads to quick weeknight stir-fries. Yet few people realize that the refrigerator is actually one of the worst places to store onions, especially for adults over 60, who may be more sensitive to flavor changes and digestive issues. Refrigerators are designed with high humidity to keep vegetables fresh, but for onions, this moisture creates the perfect environment for mold growth. Once the papery outer skin absorbs moisture, it softens and allows black or gray mold to spread. These molds not only spoil the onion, but can also produce toxins that irritate the digestive system, something older adults should be particularly cautious about. Additionally, keeping onions in the fridge for too long causes their natural starches to convert into sugars. This makes the onion soft, watery, and somewhat strange in flavor. It also affects how onions behave when cooked. Normally, onions caramelize beautifully, adding natural sweetness to dishes. But cold, damaged onions burn more easily, release excess water, and lose their crispness, resulting in meals that simply don't taste the way they should. Another issue many overlook is that refrigerators contain a mix of strong odors. Because onions absorb smells easily, they can take on scents from raw meat, cheese, or leftovers. This completely alters their natural aroma and can even cause discomfort while cooking or eating. So, what's the best way to store onions? Keep them in a dry, well-ventilated area, away from humidity. Use mesh bags, open baskets, or perforated containers to allow airflow. Never store onions next to potatoes. The gases they release make both spoil faster. Keep them away from direct sunlight, which encourages sprouting. For cut onions, the only exception, store them in an airtight container in the fridge and use within 2 to 3 days. For older adults, choosing clean, properly stored ingredients is essential for maintaining digestive comfort and enjoying meals without unpleasant surprises. Simply avoiding the refrigerator can help preserve the full flavor and freshness of this everyday ingredient. Number 3. Potatoes. Potatoes are a staple source of starch in many American households. They're inexpensive, versatile, and rich in potassium, vitamin B6, and soluble fiber, all important for senior health. But storing potatoes incorrectly, especially in the refrigerator, can trigger changes that affect both nutrition and safety. When potatoes are exposed to cold temperatures, the starch inside them begins to convert into sugar more quickly. This is a natural protective response by the tuber, but for consumers, it introduces a risk. When sugar-rich potatoes are cooked at high heat, frying, baking, or sautéing, they can form acrylamide, a compound linked to health concerns when consumed frequently. Younger adults may tolerate this better, but for seniors with slower metabolism, limiting acrylamide is especially important. Cold storage also alters the texture of potatoes. Damaged starch cells make the inside become mushy, while the increased sweetness can create an odd flavor during cooking. This explains why mashed potatoes or fries sometimes taste off or overly sweet when made from refrigerated potatoes. For older adults, these unexpected changes can reduce appetite or make meals less enjoyable. Light and humidity also encourage the formation of solanine, a bitter compound that can cause stomach discomfort when consumed in excess. While the fridge doesn't have strong light, its moisture can soften the potato skin and accelerate spoilage, making it less safe to eat. So how should you store potatoes properly? Keep them in a cool, dry, well-ventilated place, such as a pantry, storage cabinet, or a dark corner of the kitchen. Avoid sealing potatoes in plastic bags. Moisture gets trapped and encourages sprouting. Use paper bags or woven baskets so the potatoes can breathe. Most importantly, store potatoes away from onions, as both release gases that make each other spoil faster. If you see sprouts or green patches, trim them off or discard the potato if the sprouting is severe. For older adults, choosing safe, properly handled foods is always a top priority. By making one simple change, keeping potatoes out of the fridge, you reduce unwanted compounds in your diet while preserving the potato's natural flavor, texture, and nutritional value. Number 2. Tomatoes. Tomatoes are one of the best foods for older adults. They're rich in vitamin C, potassium, fiber, and especially lycopene, an antioxidant that supports heart health, eyesight, and immunity. Unfortunately, many people unintentionally reduce the quality of tomatoes simply by storing them in the refrigerator. Tomatoes naturally thrive in warm conditions. When exposed to cold temperatures, their internal biological processes almost completely shut down. As a result, tomatoes lose a significant amount of their flavor. The enzymes responsible for their natural sweetness and aroma become inactive, leaving the tomato bland, mushy, and lifeless. For seniors, who rely heavily on natural flavor to stimulate appetite, this makes tomatoes far less appealing. Cold temperature also disrupts the cellular structure of tomatoes. When you slice a chilled tomato, you'll often see watery flesh, a soft texture, and a loss of that juicy firmness. This not only affects how tomatoes taste raw, but also how they cook. Cold, damaged tomatoes break down too quickly and lose their natural thickness in sauces or soups. Most concerning of all, refrigerating tomatoes can reduce the body's ability to absorb lycopene, the very antioxidant older adults need for heart protection and inflammation control. Studies show that cold environments interfere with the tomato's natural ripening process, making lycopene less bioavailable. This is why tomatoes may still look fresh after being in the fridge, but their nutritional value and flavor drop noticeably. So, how should you store tomatoes? Keep them at room temperature, in a cool and well-ventilated place. Place tomatoes stem side down to prevent moisture from entering through the stem area. Avoid stacking them to prevent bruising. If your tomatoes become too ripe, turn them into sauce or cook them. Then refrigerate the cooked version. Cooked tomatoes retain lycopene better than chilled raw tomatoes. Never store tomatoes in sealed plastic bags, which trap moisture and speed up spoilage. Tomatoes are a wonderful gift for senior health, supporting heart function, improving digestion, and offering powerful antioxidants. With a simple change, keeping fresh tomatoes out of the refrigerator, you preserve their flavor, texture, and full nutritional potential. Number 1. Avocados. Among the foods most beneficial for adults over 60, avocados are always at the top. Rich in healthy fats that support memory, vitamin E for antioxidant protection, fiber for digestion, and potassium for blood pressure balance. Few fruits are as creamy, nutrient-dense, and senior-friendly as the avocado. Yet many people unknowingly destroy 80 to 90% of its value by storing it in the fridge too early or for too long. Avocados are highly sensitive to cold. When placed in the refrigerator, their natural enzymes become disrupted, stopping the ripening process or causing it to occur unevenly. This leads to flesh that is rubbery, watery, fibrous, or separated, losing the smooth creaminess older adults love because it's easy to chew and swallow. Beyond texture, cold temperatures accelerate fat oxidation in avocados. The healthy fats, especially oleic acid, vital for brain and heart health, break down faster and transform into less beneficial compounds. For seniors, maintaining a steady intake of healthy fats is essential for memory support, inflammation control, and overall vitality. Another common issue is discoloration. Refrigerated avocados often turn brown, grayish, or develop tough, fibrous streaks inside. This signals cell damage. When this happens, avocados lose both their aroma and their rich flavor. Many older adults tell me cold-stored avocados taste off or become hard to swallow, which is exactly what cold damage causes. So how should you store avocados properly? Let avocados ripen naturally at room temperature. Once perfectly ripe, You may refrigerate them for no more than 1 to 2 days to slow spoilage. If the avocado is cut, keep the pit inside, brush the surface with a little lemon juice, wrap tightly, or place in an airtight container to reduce oxidation. For long-term storage, mash the avocado with a bit of lemon juice and freeze it. This preserves nutrients and texture better than refrigerating the whole fruit. For older adults, maximizing the benefits of avocados can make a meaningful difference, reducing inflammation, supporting memory, easing digestion, and providing clean, nourishing energy. Simply avoiding the habit of refrigerating unripe or whole avocados for too long protects one of the most valuable golden superfoods for healthy aging. We've just explored 9 everyday foods that may seem harmless, yet lose much of their nutritional value when stored incorrectly in the refrigerator. The good news is that with just a few small adjustments in your daily routine, you can help your body absorb nutrients more efficiently, support digestion, and maintain stronger overall health well into your 60s and beyond. Aging is not the end of strength or vitality. In many ways, it is the time when your body deserves the most care. From the meals you choose to the way you store the ingredients you rely on. When you understand what your body needs and know how to protect your food, you're actively shaping a healthier, more comfortable, and more fulfilling chapter of life. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of the 9 foods surprised you the most today? Your comments might help someone else avoid mistakes they've been making for years. If this video brought you value, please leave a like and consider subscribing so we can continue this journey together. I have so much more to share, and I want you to be the first to receive it. Let's step into the later years of life in the best way possible. A little slower, a lot healthier, more self-aware, and more meaningful.